Not all silence is empty. Some are filled with galaxies. Every night, the cosmos hums a lullaby, and tonight, it's yours. You are not just in the universe is in you. Every breath you take is a rhythm in the music of the cosmos. So let your breath slow, let your mind drift, and listen, because the universe is about to whisper again. Hello, and welcome to Moon Whisper Sleep, where science meets slumber, and the universe becomes a lullaby of light. Perhaps today has been a long day, or maybe you simply wish to let your mind drift through the night, among distant planets, quiet moons, and the fragile hum of a breathing cosmos. Wherever you've come from, no matter how weary your mind feels tonight, this journey is for you. Let your breath slow down. Let your thoughts dissolve like stardust in the air, and let your body grow lighter, as if gravity itself has loosened its hold, and you begin to float softly through the ocean of space. Tonight, we will cross the delicate boundary between science and consciousness, where invisible waves carry not just data, but awareness. When you close your eyes, your brain begins to emit a frequency of 8 Hz, the resonance of the Earth itself, and the same rhythm that echoes through the fabric of the universe. Together, we will listen to what happens when a planet begins to breathe, and when human consciousness starts to vibrate in harmony with it. Night, you will discover why light can tell the story of its own history, why every frequency in space is a gentle pulse of time, and why, sometimes, in dreams, we can still hear the faint calling of stars long extinguished. There is nothing to rush, nothing to grasp. Simply drift, and let the whispers of the stars guide you, as light seeps softly into the deepest corners of your mind. We will listen to the fragile winds from worlds far away, planets born from the same ancient cloud of dust as Earth, where primordial light still travels through darkness, and where every grain, every photon, tells a story about time, about life, and about us. Feel how the universe keeps moving quietly, vast, and patient. Each of your breaths is a tiny rhythm in that endless symphony. If you feel your heart settling, if the stillness makes you smile, please like, subscribe, and ring the little bell beside it, so that each night, the universe may find its way back to you, through the gentle whispers of Moon Whisper Sleep, and perhaps that small gesture from you might become a signal guiding someone awake in the middle of the night to find this place. A place to rest, to learn, and to be lulled to sleep by the cosmos, one soul at a time. Now, take a slow, deep breath, release everything the day has left behind, and let me guide you through the layers of space, where we will not only observe the universe, but see ourselves reflected in its motion. Imagine tonight, you're lying beneath the great dome of an observatory, where the entire sky stretches above you, a deep ocean shimmering with stars. Everything around you is silent, except for the soft touch of wind against metal, and the quiet rhythm of your heartbeat, moving in harmony with the breath of the universe. Milky Way, and now, tonight's journey begins. Welcome back to Moon Whisper Sleep, where science meets serenity, and curiosity drifts softly into dream. Tonight, We'll take a slow and soothing journey into one of the biggest questions ever asked. Where does space stop? At first, it sounds almost childlike, a simple question with an obvious answer. But the deeper you fall into it, the more it stretches your mind, like the universe stretching itself across time. Perhaps you've had a long day, or maybe you're simply someone who finds peace in letting thoughts drift through the stars. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, this moment is yours. Let your breath slow down. Let your thoughts soften. Dissolve like stardust fading into the dark. You don't have to understand everything tonight. You don't even have to remember what you'll hear. Just let the words move through you like the quiet hum of the cosmic background itself. And before we begin, if this gentle corner of the universe helps you find calm, I'd be grateful if you press like or subscribe to help this sleepy little channel grow. Tell me, where are you listening from? A midnight bed in Stockholm? A quiet cafe in Melbourne? Pretending to work while the afternoon light spills through the window? Wherever you are, it's beautiful that we're here together. A constellation of minds connected by curiosity and rest. Now settle in. You don't need to take notes. You don't need to stay alert. Just listen and drift. Understand. Where does space stop? When we look up, space appears as a black, silent canvas sprinkled with light. But what is it, really? For most of human history, we've imagined space as nothing. A backdrop against which all things happen. A grand stage that holds planets, stars, and the long echoes of creation. Sir Isaac Newton once described it that way, an absolute arena, unchanging and eternal. In his universe, space was the wooden floor of a great theater, and every planet, every comet, every human life was simply moving across its flat surface. Time ticked forward, steady and universal for everyone, and space itself never changed. It was the container of reality, not a participant in it. But then came a man with wild hair, chalk dust on his sleeves, and questions that bent the straight lines of the cosmos. Albert Einstein. Einstein shattered that tidy vision. He showed us that space isn't just an empty stage. It's alive, a living fabric that bends, stretches, and ripples in the presence of mass and energy. He called it space-time, a four-dimensional tapestry woven from the threads of space and the flow of time. To imagine it, picture a great trampoline in the dark. Place a bowling ball in its center. The fabric curves around it, forming a gentle well. Now roll a marble across the surface. Instead of gliding in a straight path, it bends, drawn inward by the curve. That's gravity, not a force pulling across space, but space itself curving under the weight of matter. The Earth doesn't tug us down like a magnet. We fall because space-time dips beneath us, and we simply roll along its curve, like marbles following the geometry of the universe. Einstein's idea transformed everything. It told us that the cosmos isn't built on a static foundation. It's a dynamic ocean, and every star, planet, and photon is a ripple within it. Even time is not separate from this sea. When space-time bends, time bends with it. Near a massive object, like a black hole or even the surface of Earth, time itself slows, stretching and warping like the fabric around that bowling ball. So space isn't just where things happen. It's part of what happens. It reacts, it moves, and it carries the rhythm of the universe, the rise and fall of energy through eternity. Understand, but what happens when there's nothing? When we drift far from any star, far beyond the warmth of galaxies, is that space truly empty? Not quite. Even in the loneliest corners of the universe, space is never still. At the smallest scales imaginable, billions of times smaller than an atom, the vacuum itself seethes with life. Quantum fields hum beneath the silence, like invisible strings vibrating just beyond perception. These fields aren't things in space. They are space. Every particle, every electron, photon, proton, emerges from the ripples in these quantum fields. And even when no particle exists, those fields never fall completely silent. They flicker, they breathe. Tiny pairs of particles appear, vanish, reappear. So fleeting they can't be caught, yet their presence leaves measurable fingerprints in the real world. Physicists call this restless energy the vacuum energy, and it's far from empty. If you could zoom close enough, unimaginably close, space would look less like a void and more like a shimmering pond under moonlight, its surface trembling with invisible ripples. From afar, it seems calm, but up close, it's alive. These subtle vibrations give birth to virtual particles, ephemeral pairs that blink in and out of existence, borrowing energy from the void itself. They can't be observed directly, but their influence shapes the universe. From the behavior of electrons in atoms to the vast, accelerating expansion of the cosmos, the mysterious phenomenon we call dark energy. So, even nothing is something. The emptiest space is full of potential, a quiet ocean of unseen motion, a whispering field from which all matter arises. And perhaps, that's the gentlest truth of all. That stillness is never truly still, and silence is full of song. So if space is alive, bending, stretching, and vibrating, then what lies beyond it? Where does it stop? To explore that, we must look at the universe not just as a place, but as a story written in light and time. Imagine standing on a quiet hilltop beneath a clear night sky. Above you stretches the infinite black, speckled with stars that have burned for billions of years. Feels endless, eternal. But what if I told you that even this vastness has a limit? Not a wall, not an edge, but a horizon. A cosmic horizon. This boundary isn't made of matter or energy. It's made of time. It marks the farthest distance light has traveled since the birth of the universe, the edge of what we can observe. Scientists call it the observable universe, a sphere of light roughly 93 billion light-years across. Inside that sphere is everything we've ever seen or measured, 2 trillion galaxies, each with billions of stars. And beyond it lies the unlit ocean of the unknown. But why is this horizon so far? After all, if the universe is about 8 billion years old, shouldn't the farthest thing we can see be 8 billion light-years away? You'd think so, but the universe plays a clever trick. While light has been traveling toward us, space itself has been expanding, stretching that light's path like a rubber band pulled across time. So those distant galaxies we see now are not 8 billion light-years away. They're more than 46 billion light-years distant, because the space between us has grown while the light was on its way. It's as if you threw a message in a bottle across a slowly rising ocean. By the time it reached shore, the sea itself had grown wider beneath it. That's what the expansion of the universe does. It stretches not just matter, but the fabric of reality itself. Galaxies drift apart, not because they're moving through space, but because space itself is growing between them. And as space expands, it carries with it a quiet revelation that the universe doesn't need an outside to grow into. It grows within itself, a self-contained motion, a breath of being that never leaves its own lungs. This brings us to the idea of the cosmic horizon, the invisible boundary of what can ever reach us. Beyond it, light has not had enough time to arrive. Those regions exist, but they are forever hidden from our eyes, like mountains beyond the fog of dawn. And because the universe keeps expanding, that horizon is always changing. Each moment that passes, New light from distant galaxies slips into view, even as others drift away beyond reach. It's as if we live inside a vast, glowing bubble, its surface made of time, gently swelling with every heartbeat of the cosmos. From inside, we can only watch the faint glow of ancient light, some of it older than Earth itself, older than the stars that now watch over us. Every photon that reaches your eyes is a traveler that left its home billions of years ago, a whisper from the edge of the observable world. When you look up at the night sky, you are not seeing the universe as it is, you're seeing it as it was. Every star above you, every shimmer of distant light, is a message from the past. A memory traveling through darkness, arriving in your eyes after millions or even billions of years of wandering. The light that leaves the sun, for example, takes a little more than 8 minutes to reach you. That means, if the sun were to disappear this instant, you would still see its glow for 8 peaceful minutes more. And the light from the nearest large galaxy, Andromeda, has been traveling for 2.5 million years. When that light began its journey, our ancestors were just learning to use fire. So when you look at Andromeda tonight, you're looking into a time before history, a silent echo of a cosmos much younger than the one you stand in now. Astronomers call this idea look-back time, the distance between what was and what we see. The farther a galaxy is, the longer its light has been traveling, and the further back in time we are looking. It's as if the universe is a great ocean of memory, and every telescope is a diver plunging deeper into its past. Somewhere at unimaginable depths, the very first light still glows faintly, the afterglow of the Big Bang itself. Light is more than just brightness. It's a record keeper. Each photon carries within it the story of where it has been and what the universe was doing at the moment it began its flight. But as that photon travels, it encounters a strange fate. The universe it moves through isn't static. It's stretching. And as space stretches, it stretches the light itself. This gentle cosmic stretching changes the light's color. Its wavelength grows longer, and its hue slides toward the red end of the spectrum. Astronomers call this shift the redshift. It's a quiet, universal language, a way the cosmos tells us how far light has traveled and how much the universe has grown since that journey began. If the universe were a great symphony, then redshift would be the lowering of its pitch, a deepening of tone that echoes expansion itself. Imagine a violin string, vibrating and singing in perfect tone. Now imagine that the instrument itself is stretching as it plays. The pitch would drop, the sound would slow, not because the string has changed, but because the space holding it has expanded. That's what happens to light from galaxies drifting away from us. Their wavelengths are pulled longer. Their music turns soft and red, as space itself swells like a great cosmic breath. The faster a galaxy moves away, the greater its redshift. This relationship, discovered by Edwin Hubble, was one of the first clues that the universe is expanding. And not just expanding, accelerating. Something unseen, which we now call dark energy, seems to be pushing galaxies apart faster and faster, stretching space-time like a vast, invisible tide. We don't yet know what dark energy truly is. It might be the pressure of the vacuum itself or something stranger, woven into the very geometry of existence. But whatever it is, its fingerprints are written in light, in the redshift of galaxies at the edge of the observable world. Understood to the eye. the universe seems still. The stars above us look frozen in their constellations, like jewels pinned to black velvet. But in truth, everything is moving, slowly, majestically, constantly. Galaxies drift apart, stars orbit their centers, and light, patient, persistent light, stretches with the pulse of time. Each night sky, then, is not a photograph but a time machine. When you look at the faintest star, you are looking at a younger version of the cosmos, a chapter already written long ago. The farther you gaze, the more the story rewinds. When astronomers aim powerful telescopes like Hubble or James Webb into a patch of dark sky, they're not just peering into emptiness. They're looking back billions of years to the first galaxies, the first clusters of stars, and perhaps even the light born from the first hydrogen atoms when the universe was still glowing with newborn fire. That faint, ancient light has traveled across space that itself has changed shape while it moved. It's like trying to hear a song played in a hall that's expanding as the melody continues. By the time the sound reaches you, its tone is lower, its rhythm slower, but still the music remains. And so the night sky you see above your head is not a single moment. It's a layered symphony of time, where each point of light sings from a different age. Some stars show us the near present. Others whisper from eras when the universe was half its current size. And beyond them, a few ancient photons still drift from a time when there were no stars at all, only darkness, gas, and the faint hum of creation. Understand, so there's a quiet poetry to that. Every night, when you look up, you are literally watching the past stream toward you at the speed of light. Some of those photons began their journey before our sun was born. Some left their galaxies before Earth even existed. And now, after traveling across the cold fabric of space-time, they meet your eyes. For the briefest instant, their story becomes part of yours. It's humbling, isn't it? To realize that your gaze completes a journey begun billions of years ago, that you are, in some way, the universe becoming aware of its own memory. So the next time you look up at the stars, remember, you are not looking out into space. You are looking back in time. Every glimmer is an ancient heartbeat, still echoing across the cosmos. And you, right now, in this small, quiet moment, are the continuation of that echo. As we drift deeper into the cosmos, one truth becomes clear. We can only see so far. Not because our eyes are weak, but because light itself has limits. The universe is vast, but time is finite, and light can only travel so far since the dawn of everything. That invisible boundary, the farthest distance any signal could have reached us since the Big Bang, is called the particle horizon, the edge of the observable universe. Beyond it, there may be countless galaxies, stars, and even other forms of matter and physics we can't yet imagine. But their light has not had enough time to arrive. It's like standing on a quiet shore while an endless ocean stretches into darkness. You can sense its immensity, but you can't yet see its far side. That's what our cosmic horizon is, a limit not of existence, but of experience. So when we look toward the horizon, we aren't peering into emptiness. We're seeing light that began its journey when the universe itself was still a child. A faint whisper of ancient radiation, a remnant of the Big Bang's first light, still glows all around us. This light is called the cosmic microwave background, or CMB. It's the oldest light we can ever observe, emitted about 380,000 years after the universe began. A time when everything was hot, dense, and glowing like the inside of a newborn star. As the universe expanded and cooled, that light stretched into longer wavelengths, shifting from blinding brightness to the gentle microwave hum we can detect today. If you could see it with your eyes, the sky would appear softly speckled, a cosmic tapestry of temperature and energy, mapped by satellites like COBE, WMAP, and Planck. Each tiny ripple in that map marks the seed of a galaxy yet to form, the faint fingerprint of the universe's first structure. That image, the CMB, is the baby photo of everything. Beyond the particle horizon lies something even stranger, the cosmic event horizon. This horizon isn't about how far light has traveled so far, but about how far it ever will. There are regions of space so distant and receding so quickly that their light will never reach us. Not now, not ever. Even if we waited an eternity, those galaxies would remain hidden, their signals lost beyond the swell of expanding spacetime. This means that, in a way, there are parts of the universe we are permanently separated from, like ships sailing beyond the curve of an infinite sea. They exist, but we will never share a sky. Einstein's equations tell us that space can expand faster than light, not because anything moves faster than light, but because the fabric of space itself can stretch without violating any laws of physics. Imagine dots drawn on a balloon. As you inflate it, the dots drift apart, not because they're moving, but because the surface between them grows. That's the nature of cosmic expansion. Galaxies don't fly through space. They drift with it, each one carried gently outward by the swelling breath of creation itself. So when we look at distant galaxies, some of them are already beyond the reach of any future signal, forever receding, their light stretched thin until it fades into the background glow. It's humbling to think. There are stars we can see now whose light will one day vanish completely, swallowed by the darkness between galaxies. And long after our sun has burned out, their last photons will still be racing toward us, bearing stories from a universe that no longer exists. Even with these horizons, these cosmic limits of sight and time, humanity has found a way to look further, not by breaking the laws of physics, but by bending them with understanding. Every telescope, from the glass domes of mountaintop observatories to the floating eyes of Hubble and James Webb, is a kind of time machine. It doesn't move us through time. It brings time to us. When astronomers aim their lenses at a faint red smudge of light, they're not just observing a distant galaxy. They're witnessing a moment from billions of years ago. They're watching the universe as it was when it first learned to shine. The Hubble Deep Field, for instance, captured what seemed to be an empty patch of darkness and revealed thousands of galaxies swimming in the void, each one a story billions of years old. The newer James Webb Space Telescope takes that even further, its infrared eyes piercing through cosmic dust, reaching light that's traveled for over 13 billion years. That means, right now, we're literally looking back to an era when the first stars were being born. We're watching the universe watch itself come alive. So there's a quiet wonder in that idea, that no matter how far away we look, we're always looking backward in time, and that every photon entering our eyes tonight is a visitor from a past that will never return. The night sky, then, is not a ceiling above us. It's a mirror of history, folded across billions of years, reflecting who we are and where we came from. So when you gaze upward, you're not just observing the universe. You're participating in it. You're completing the journey that light began long before human memory existed. And maybe in some faraway galaxy on some other distant world, another being is doing the same, looking toward our tiny corner of space, wondering if someone might be watching back. Because in the end, to look into the universe is to look into a mirror, one that shows not your reflection but your origin. A soft whisper of time, still traveling, still glowing, still alive. Now that we've looked at the horizons of space, let's step back. Far enough to ask a deeper question. What shape does the universe have? It's a question both simple and impossible. We're so used to thinking of shape as something we can see, something that has edges, curves, and boundaries. But the universe is not an object sitting in space. It is space. It's the very fabric upon which everything else unfolds. So when cosmologists ask, what is the shape of the universe? They don't mean, does it look like a sphere, or a cube, or a spiral? They mean, how does space curve when viewed on the largest possible scale? To understand that, imagine a flat sheet of paper, smooth, endless, perfectly level. If you draw a triangle on it, its angles will always add up to exactly 180 degrees. That's what we call flat space. Now imagine that same triangle drawn on the surface of a sphere, like the Earth. Suddenly, its angles add up to more than 180 degrees, because the surface itself curves inward. That's positively curved space or a closed universe. Finally, imagine a saddle shape, curving upward in one direction and downward in another. Draw a triangle there, and its angles add up to less than 180 degrees. That's negatively curved space or an open universe. So flat, closed, open. 3 possibilities. 3 potential geometries for all of existence. But how can we tell which one we live in? After all, we can't step outside the universe and look at it from above. We can only measure it from within using the light that travels across it. Cosmologists use many tools to do this. The distribution of galaxies, the way gravity bends light, and especially the delicate patterns in the cosmic microwave background, the same ancient light we spoke about before. When that primordial light left the early universe, it carried tiny ripples of temperature and density, like the faint vibrations of a newborn drum. By measuring how those ripples spread across the sky, scientists can infer the curvature of space itself. And what did they find? The answer is breathtakingly simple. The universe appears flat. At least, as far as we can measure, to within a tiny fraction of a percent. Space shows no overall curvature. Parallel lines stay parallel, triangles behave as if drawn on a vast, level sheet. It doesn't mean the universe is infinite, just that within the part we can see, its geometry behaves as if it were. But here's the quiet beauty. A flat universe can still be finite but unbounded. Just like the surface of a sphere, it can loop back on itself, so that if you traveled far enough in one direction, you might someday impossibly far away end up where you started without ever finding an edge. Imagine walking endlessly across the surface of the Earth. You never hit a wall. You just keep going, and the world curves gently beneath your feet. In the same way, space may curve softly through higher dimensions, folded in ways we can't yet perceive. The universe might not stretch forever, but it has no outside and no boundary. It's not expanding into anything. It's expanding within itself. When you look up at the stars, you're looking along that vast, invisible curvature. You're seeing straight lines that aren't quite straight, and distances that only make sense because light itself follows the geometry of space-time. It's like living inside a giant painting, where every brushstroke curves with the surface of the canvas, and you can never step back to see the whole picture, because you are painted into it. The universe might be curved in ways our senses can't grasp, but our hearts somehow can. Every instinct that pulls us to look upward, to question, to wonder, to reach, is part of that same curvature. We are the consciousness of a universe trying to understand its own shape. Some theories go further. They suggest our universe could be toroidal, shaped like a donut looping through itself. Others imagine it as a multi-connected manifold, where traveling far enough in one direction might bring you back from another. And some even whisper that our cosmos is just one small bubble in an endless froth of universes, each with its own geometry, its own laws of physics, its own dreams of matter and light. We don't yet know which is true. Maybe we never will. But perhaps the point isn't to find the edge of the universe. Perhaps it's to realize there might not be one at all. Because maybe the real shape of the universe isn't geometric, but emotional. A mirror of curiosity and awe folding endlessly back into itself. Maybe, like space-time, our search for understanding is both infinite and intimate. A spiral of knowing and unknowing, curving forever between wonder and silence. So when you breathe tonight, as you lie beneath the quiet stars, remember, you are part of the universe's shape. A thought, a curve, a living proof that the cosmos is still learning what it truly is. Before galaxies formed, before stars ignited, before even atoms had truly come together, there was only light. A light not from any star, but from the birth of the universe itself. It was everywhere, filling all of space, a luminous sea of pure energy, dense, hot, unbroken. A time when the cosmos was not yet a place, but a pulse vibrating with creation. That moment nearly 8 billion years ago is what we now call the Big Bang. But what we see of it today is not an explosion frozen in memory. It is a whisper that never stopped, a faint echo of light that still drifts through the universe, touching everything it once was. That echo is the cosmic microwave background, the oldest light we can ever witness, the afterglow of the moment when the universe first became transparent. In the beginning, space was too hot and too crowded for light to travel freely. Every photon collided again and again with charged particles, protons, electrons, trapped in a fog of plasma. Light could not move far before being scattered back, like sound waves bouncing endlessly in a storm. But as the universe expanded, it cooled. And about 380,000 years after the Big Bang, something miraculous happened. For the first time, protons and electrons joined to form neutral atoms. The fog lifted, and light finally was free. Those first photons began to travel outward, carrying with them a record of everything that had come before. That light has never stopped moving. It is still traveling now, passing silently through you, through me, through the room you're in, through the stars themselves. You are literally bathed in the oldest light in existence. To our eyes, this light is invisible. Its wavelength has been stretched by the expansion of the universe to a frequency too long for sight. It hums quietly as microwave radiation, a soft, cosmic whisper filling every direction in space. If you could tune an old radio to static between stations, about 1% of that hiss would come from this ancient light. It is the background music of reality, the sound of the universe remembering its birth. For decades, this cosmic glow was only theory. Then, in 1964, two scientists, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, accidentally discovered it while testing a radio antenna in New Jersey. They heard a faint noise that would not go away, no matter how they cleaned the instrument, no matter where they pointed it. It was everywhere, even when the antenna faced the empty sky. That noise, that faint, persistent hum, was the echo of creation itself. A song older than galaxies, older than time as we know it. They had found the proof that the universe was once glowing, dense, and alive with light. And for that, they won the Nobel Prize. Since then, we've mapped this radiation in exquisite detail. Satellites like COBE, WMAP, and Planck have charted the tiny temperature differences in this ancient light variations of only a few millionths of a degree. Yet those minute ripples are everything. They are the fingerprints of the infant cosmos, the seeds of galaxies, the ancestors of stars, the quiet blueprint of all future worlds. When you look at a map of the CMB, you are looking at the first visible image of the universe itself, a baby picture made of pure time. Every pixel in that image tells a story 8 billion years old, a story that never truly ended. So the cosmic microwave background is more than ancient light. It is the memory of creation, woven into the fabric of everything that exists. It tells us that the universe was once small, uniform, and unimaginably hot, but also that even in that chaos, tiny imperfections existed. And from those imperfections, everything we know was born. Galaxies, stars, planets. The universe did not begin in perfection, but in asymmetry, a slight unevenness that made beauty possible. Sometimes. When I think about that, it feels almost human. We too are made from imperfection, from the uneven, the uncertain, the fragile spaces between balance and chaos. Without those imperfections, no galaxies could have formed. Without our own, no stories could ever be told. So perhaps the cosmic microwave background isn't just a relic of physics, but a reminder that creation itself requires a little imbalance, a little warmth, a little noise in the silence. When you close your eyes tonight and let your mind drift through darkness, Know that the same ancient light that once filled the newborn universe still shines around you now. It moves through your skin, your bones, your breath. It threads through the atoms of your body, atoms forged from the stars that were born from that very light. You are, quite literally, the continuation of the universe's first dawn. And somewhere, in the soft static between worlds, the cosmos still hums that same lullaby, a song of origin, of memory, of light learning how to be free. There is a quiet rhythm to the universe, a slow unfolding of energy, light, and time. It began with brilliance, a surge of unimaginable fire, a creation so bright that darkness itself was born just to balance it. And ever since that moment, the universe has been expanding, cooling, and changing. A cosmic breath, inhaling and exhaling through billions of years. But like every breath, there will come a pause, a stillness, an ending not of destruction, but of transformation. This is the story of the universe's final act. Not a tragedy, but a return to silence. For the flow of time right now. As you listen, stars are being born somewhere in the galaxy. Clouds of gas collapsing, igniting, forming suns that will shine for billions of years. But even as new stars awaken, others fade. They burn their fuel, flicker, and die. This cycle of creation and decay is what gives the universe its pulse. It's what allows you, me, and everything we know to exist. But that cycle is temporary. Every star draws from a limited source of fuel, hydrogen, the simplest element in existence, the breath of the cosmos itself. And once that fuel runs out, there will be no more fire, no more new light. The future of the universe is written not in flame, but in the slow, cold ink of entropy. So the reign of expansion, the universe, as far as we can tell, will not collapse back on itself. The expansion we see today is not slowing down, it's speeding up. Something unseen, dark energy, is stretching the fabric of space faster and faster. It's like a silent wind, pushing galaxies away from each other, accelerating their separation. Someday, even the nearest galaxies will drift beyond our sight. The night sky will grow emptier, its constellations dissolving like sand slipping through an open hand. Billions of years from now, the Milky Way and Andromeda will merge, a brief, spectacular dance, before becoming a single, lonely galaxy floating in a sea of darkness. And beyond that, no new light will ever reach us. The universe will stretch so far that every source of brightness will fade into infrared whispers, then into nothing at all. The cooling and the silent stars will die, one by one. The massive ones will explode, supernovae scattering heavy elements into the void. Smaller ones will fade quietly, turning into white dwarfs, then black dwarfs, cold remnants of once-burning suns. The cosmos will grow dim. There will be no starlight left to see, no heat to feel. Planets will freeze, drifting like fossils of a forgotten warmth. Even black holes, those mysterious engines of gravity, will not last forever. They will slowly evaporate, leaking energy through Hawking radiation, fading like embers of an ancient fire. One by one, they too will vanish. And what remains will be the faintest whisper of radiation, the last trace of motion, the final heartbeat of time. Understood. So the heat death physicists call this the heat death of the universe, a time when everything has reached equilibrium, when no more energy can flow and no more work can be done. Sounds lifeless, but it's not violent. It's not fire or explosion. It's peace, a silence so complete, so gentle, that even time begins to lose meaning. There will be no more stars, no galaxies, no life, only a smooth, endless sea of cold particles, each one infinitely far from another, each one still carrying the echo of everything that ever was. If you could exist then, trillions upon trillions of years from now, you wouldn't see darkness. You'd see stillness, the calmest night imaginable, the final sigh of the cosmos, and perhaps a faint glimmer of memory still echoing somewhere in the void. Underscore reflection. The return to stillness, but maybe that isn't the end. Maybe the universe doesn't die. Maybe it simply changes form as it always has. After all, everything that ends becomes something new. Stars become dust. Dust becomes planets. Planets become life. Life becomes consciousness. And consciousness becomes awareness, a spark looking back at its own origin. Maybe that's what the universe has been doing all along, looking inward, through you, through me. When you gaze at the stars, the universe is remembering itself. When you breathe, it feels itself moving. When you wonder what will happen at the end, you are that ending already aware of itself. So perhaps the fate of the universe is not decay, but understanding. Not oblivion, but completion. Maybe the last thing the cosmos will ever do is realize that it has been awake the entire time. And then, in perfect stillness, it will rest. Not as darkness, but as awareness everywhere and nowhere. They say nothing lasts forever, but maybe nothing ever truly ends. When we speak of the fate of the universe, we imagine endings, heat death, darkness, stillness. But what if endings are only the pauses between notes? What if creation, like breath, never truly stops, it only changes rhythm? The ancients once spoke of the cosmos as something that dies and is reborn, a phoenix woven from space-time, rising again from its own ashes. And modern science, strangely, has begun to whisper the same. The breadth of the universe in physics. There is a theory, the Big Bounce. It suggests that what we call the Big Bang may not have been a beginning at all, but a transition. A moment when a previous universe, having expanded and cooled to stillness, folded in on itself, then burst outward again in a new breath. If that's true, then the cosmos is older than time itself, an infinite cycle of expansion and rebirth, breathing in and out across eons without end. Each universe born from the ashes of the last, each learning something new about existence before returning to silence once more. It is a rhythm beyond comprehension, creation and dissolution, fire and frost, life and rest, the cosmic pulse of eternity. The memory of light, even if the Big Bounce is not true. The idea carries something timeless, that the universe remembers, because memory is written into everything, in the spin of particles, in the orbits of stars, in the background radiation still singing through space. Every photon that has ever existed still carries information, a trace of what once was. The light of your body, your thoughts, your voice will one day fade into that same field of cosmic memory. And perhaps some future universe, born from the echoes of this one, will find traces of us written in the dust between stars, like faint handwriting on the edge of eternity. Understand, so the multiverse, some scientists believe that our universe may not be alone, that beyond our cosmic horizon lie countless other universes, each with its own laws, its own dimensions, its own music of matter and light. Together, they form the multiverse, a sea of infinite possibilities. Maybe every decision, every chance event, creates another world. One where you took a different path. One where a different star was born. And if that's true, then even death is only a doorway from one vibration of reality to another. A migration of energy, continuation, not an ending. So the philosophy of return, ancient mystics spoke of the eternal return, that all things, given infinite time, must repeat. Every pattern reemerges, every atom finds its way back to the dance of existence. To them, eternity was not a straight line, but a circle, the same melody played over and over, each time slightly changed, slightly more aware. Maybe that's what consciousness is, the universe learning to recognize its own rhythm. Every human thought, every act of kindness, every star born or dying, is part of the same pattern repeating through infinite versions of itself. In that sense, nothing is ever wasted. Not light, not time, not love. Everything returns. Understand the stillness that creates when we imagine nothingness. We picture emptiness, but perhaps nothingness is simply potential, a space so full of possibility that it must stay silent just to contain it all. The universe emerged from that silence once. It may do so again. Maybe eternity isn't a line or a loop, but a spiral, each cycle rising higher, more complex, more conscious. And in each turning, new galaxies will bloom, new light will sing, and somewhere, another being will look up at its own sky and wonder what came before. And the universe will whisper back, "You did." Understood? So the return to wonder in the end. Perhaps the universe's greatest secret is not how it began, or how it will end, but that it never stops becoming. Every collapse is a creation in disguise. Every silence hides a sound. Every ending breathes another beginning. When all the stars have died, and time itself grows thin, something, maybe smaller than a particle, maybe larger than thought, will stir again. And from that stillness, light will return. A new universe will bloom, and the story will begin again, as it always has, as it always will. Because in truth, the cosmos is not trying to last forever. It's trying to be forever renewed. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, let that thought cradle you. You are part of that rhythm, a spark in an eternal cycle, a note in the song of endless rebirth. You are the universe learning how to begin again. There is a moment each night, just before sleep, when thought loosens its grip and the world grows soft around the edges. In that quiet margin, you can almost feel the universe noticing itself. Not through telescopes or equations, but through you. A breath, a pulse, a hush. Matter remembering what it means to be aware. We often say that humans are made of stardust, That's true but incomplete. Stardust alone is only possibility. Consciousness is the moment possibility awakens, the moment the universe looks inward and whispers, I am. Understand, from atoms to awareness begin with hydrogen, the simplest note the cosmos can sing. Add time, pressure, gravity, and stars ignite. Inside those furnaces, new elements are forged. Carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, an alphabet of being. When stars die, they scatter that alphabet into space, and later, on small, patient worlds, letters become words. Molecules, membranes, cells. With enough time, words become sentences, nervous systems that sense, adapt, and remember. Sentences become stories. You listening now, the universe thinking softly in your voice. Awareness is not a lightning strike. It's a dawn. It spreads slowly from the first reflexes to the first questions, from survival to wonder. The same laws that sculpt galaxies also shape your attention. Probability flowing toward patterns, energy seeking quiet forms of balance. Life is a local rebellion against drift, a small island of meaning raised carefully from the sea of entropy. On that island, experience appears. The taste of tea, the ache of love, the comfort of rain. Each a way the cosmos learns texture. Felons of order nothing we are violates physics. Yet nothing we are is only physics. Between raw matter and lived meaning stands a quiet bridge. Information. A cell encodes it, a brain weaves it, a culture echoes it across centuries. Information is how pattern persists, how the flame of life keeps passing its light forward without burning the world down. Every memory you keep is a small victory over forgetting. Every kindness you offer changes the statistics of another heart. Brains do not command the universe. They coordinate with it. Electrical rhythms, chemical tides, networks rising and falling like breaths. Attention is the way energy becomes intention, the way possibility narrows into choice. Listen closely. Beneath the thoughts there is a hum, a low, steady music of coordinated chaos. Neurons whispering in concert until a moment of clarity emerges, like a star forming in a patient cloud. Understand, the participatory quiet physics tells us the world unfolds whether or not we watch. Yet observation still matters, not as magic, but as participation. To measure is to relate. To pay attention is to enter the field. Even if reality does not need us, meaning does. The universe does not write captions. We write them together, and in doing so, we become translators of light. There is a gentle idea some philosophers keep close. Maybe mind is not an intruder, but a mode of matter rare like orchids, natural like rain. Others answer, mind is an emergent flame, rising when complexity crosses a threshold. Perhaps both are partly true. The world is predisposed to know, and life is how it remembers. Underscore compassion as cosmology. If consciousness is the universe learning itself, then compassion is the universe liking what it learns. To recognize another as a center of experience, that is a small big bang in the moral sky. Each time you choose gentleness over haste, you turn available energy into meaning. You take the raw heat of being and temper it into warmth. Our instruments map background radiation. Our hearts map foreground relevance. One tells us what is there. The other tells us why it matters. Both are true. Both are needed. Science without tenderness forgets the listener. Tenderness without truth forgets the sky. Practices of attention tonight. Let's make the body a quiet observatory. Feel the weight of your bones, ancient minerals forged in stars long gone. Feel the breath arrive and leave, like a tide that fell in love with you. On the in-breath, notice the spaciousness behind your eyes. On the out-breath, let the day soften, as if each worry found a chair and sat down. Imagine each thought as a photon. It comes, it touches, it moves on. You do not have to keep it. Awareness is the sky. Thoughts are the weather. The sky has never failed to hold a storm. If sleep comes, let it. If wakefulness lingers, rest inside it. Either way, you are practicing a science older than math, the experiment of being. The edge that isn't. We've asked where space might stop. We've traced horizons, shapes, and fates. Here is another answer, the quiet one. Space stops nowhere that awareness can't begin. There is no border between the cosmos and the witness, only a handoff. Galaxies describe, you understand. Gravity curves, you care. Light travels, you tell its story. In the most patient sense, the conscious universe is not a doctrine. It is a posture. To meet reality with curiosity, to refine wonder with care, to let what is true become what is kind. When matter learned to know itself, it sang. The song took the shape of questions, then of lullabies, then of hands that try, again and again, to make the world gentler than it was. Listen, this is the universe, breathing through you, not asking to be solved, only asking to be held. The universe does not end in darkness. It ends in awareness, the quiet recognition that everything was connected all along. Every atom you've ever breathed was once part of a star. Every thought you've ever had is a ripple in the same cosmic sea. So, as this journey comes to a close, know that it never truly ends. You are part of its continuation, a spark of its light, a note in its endless song. Let your breath slow. Let your mind float. Somewhere between the stars, the universe is still singing, and you are the echo. If tonight brought you peace, leave a tiny sparkles below, so we know you're out there, listening too. And when you're ready to return, the stars will be here, waiting to whisper you home. Thank you for being part of this journey. Good night, dear traveler of light. Sleep well and dream of the cosmos that dreams of you.